Hey guys, it's time for Truth Talk, insightful topics that spark real conversations. Thank you for joining. Let's get this started.
Hey everybody, this is Kathy with Truth Talk, and my guest today is Susan Valliant, who's running for House District 94. And I wanted to take this opportunity to just let everybody know who Susan is and why she's running, and to just from her own words, her vision, her priorities, so that everyone understands what she stands for and to make an informed decision on voting. So welcome, Susan. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you, Kathy. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So Susan, let's just start with who's Susan Valliant? You've been a resident for quite some time here, but who is Susan Valliant? And kind of talk about your background just to kind of kick this off and so that people know who Susan is.
Okay, well, yes, thank you. Yes, I am a resident of Arlington for 40 years. I've been a nurse. I went to UTA, and after I graduated, I just made Arlington my home, which is in HD94. I've been a nurse in the area for 35 years. I've had lots of patients around this area, that's kind of what I'm running to, is because the people in HD94 deserve to have somebody that knows the district and knows the issues in the district and can represent the people themselves. I'm actually running for the people. I've been usually a grassroots person, boots on the ground. I'm always behind the scenes. That's my comfort zone. And doing the work, which I did that for as a precinct chair. And then I was honored to be elected as the state executive committee woman, the SREC committee woman for Senate District 10 at the last state convention. And so we've done a lot of work going back and forth to Austin, working on bills and trying to get good conservative bills that are passed. And we were very fortunate this time to actually get the population taken out of the elections in order to go back to precinct voting, which is very essential for us to go back to precinct voting, because that's the only way that we're going to be able to find out, who all's voted in that precinct, because we know how many are in that precinct. So there's no way of kind of skewing any numbers if it's countywide voting, because that's what we're currently. We haven't been able to get there yet because there's still time. In other words, they have until 2027 in order to implement it. And so hopefully that will take place by then. But my priorities are to eliminate property taxes. That's the number one big issue, because we actually had a $24 billion surplus this session. Taxpayers only got $6 billion of that back. And I want to actually introduce a bill that actually gets 100% of that comes back to the taxpayers, because that's what we overpaid.
Yeah, and that's true. Let's just talk about the property taxes, because the other side of that coin, right, is we just received a $140,000 homestead increase, to $140,000, and so that's great, but still have the issue of the appraisals. And so because it's like people think, I got 140,000. That's great. But if your appraisal goes up, you're still paying more taxes. And so is there anything that you want to do? I think that you can do what is 3 years. I know there was some kind of bill they're trying to scale it down to yearly. Is there something that you think that really needs to, because it goes hand in hand. So what do you think should be done, especially, putting some kind of legislative order or whatever mandate on how often they can do the appraisals to really get the benefit?
Yes. Well, you're right. Actually, Tarrant County actually passed it where we could do every 2 years, do appraisals. But this legislative session, that was one of the things that they snuck in there, that now it has to be done every year. So it's the Texas legislature that actually, has, messed with it. And so one of the things that I would like to do is to have agencies audited, because we have duplicative agencies. Just for instance, this last session, They really did a number on this session.
Mhm.
They actually created the Texas Regulatory Office, which is kind of like the Texas version of Doge. Well, we
Mhm.
already have a Sunset Commission. So why do we need a Texas Doge? I mean, that's kind of doing the same thing, just calling it a different name. Yeah, well, my take is on it is that they're actually doing that so it takes the responsibility or the accountability off of the state legislators. So now they can blame that agency instead of being responsible for it for themselves. Yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on it. But then we have they also created the Texas Institute of Health. Well, we already have a National Institute of Health. There's no reason for us to have another agency that does the exact same thing. And
Mhm.
there's lots of agencies. We have over 200 agencies in
Wow, I didn't
Texas.
realize
And there's so many of those that can be combined and start shrinking the government. And there's where your waste. We found $90 billion worth of waste. And we paid $81 billion in property taxes. So you can't tell me that we can't eliminate it when we've got $90 billion worth of waste.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I'm glad you're keeping an eye on that. And should you get into office, yeah, that's something that the waste is like, it's like you got the checker to check the checker to check, you know, it's like how many people you got to do, you know, it's like
Yes.
the layers because it costs,
And that's
every checker costs money. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's supposed to be the legislators are supposed to be the ones that are overseeing it. They're creating these agencies so they don't have to take responsibility. And that's just not right.
Yeah, no, that's not right. So, and that's good. So you're bringing integrity. You're coming with new eyes, and it's like you're seeing some things, and it's like you're going to bring that integrity in, and you're not going to shy away of asking the why.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
You need more people like that, because it seems like when people get into office, it seems like, yeah, I'm all for you. And then all of a sudden it's like, okay, where did they go?
Right.
And it's like they no longer serve the people. And that's really sad to see, especially in the Republican side, because we have everything we're supposed to. We're supposed to. So, yeah, that's not good. So let me turn to you really quick on your thoughts on the border. Do you think that there should be more done? And if so, what are your thoughts around that?
Actually, I go really extreme on this one. I would like to see I would like to see a moratorium for 10 years where we have zero immigration into the United States for at least 10 years until these people that are here now assimilate to the American culture. Then we can think about adding more immigrants, because I'm against any illegal immigration. Another thing we could also think about too is doing the H-1Bs, because the H-1Bs is, of course, that's the funding for foreigners to come over here for jobs and get into universities and whatnot. And I would like to take any and all H-1Bs to be excluded from any state contracts and for universities.
Okay.
Yeah.
That would be a chunk. That would definitely.
But, our American kids need the jobs, and they're not able to get the jobs because they're preferencing the H-1Bs over American kids getting jobs and going to school. And that's just not right either. I mean, our American kids should go first.
Right. And that's good, because you're putting us first, and we should be first, right? So
yes, she's our country.
All right. So let me turn to, and since we kind of touched on it, on education and parental rights. What are your thoughts on that, on the environment today, and what would you do to improve that?
Yes, well, I would like to get the DEI out of schools and get us back to reading, math, science, the basics, and get more concentration on that, because 25% of our kids in Texas are at grade level reading, and 29% in math, and 28% is in science. And we're failing our kids. We're failing our kids, and we need to put more emphasis on the basics in education. Let the teachers teach. Get rid of the STARS tests, that kind of thing. I know they said they got rid of it, but now it's kind of convoluted now into 5 tests, something to that nature. But when we were kids, we had achievement tests. You know what the education level was for everybody, and kind of go from there. But I don't know why we can't have that again instead of having something emphasis, all the money and all that go. Who's making the money or the test makers?
Yeah. And it's getting back to basics because you're right. We've heard it so many times. Well, we're still trying to recover because of COVID. And I'm thinking, okay, we now have proven schools that are at A rating and went through the same thing. So enough with the COVID stuff. Just saying.
Right. Yes. Well, the money of COVID's run out too.
Okay, so let's jump over to THC. That's a hot topic. And I know that Trump has brought that up, possibly not having such strenuous, I guess, regulatory, which I didn't get that. But what are your thoughts about THC making it legalized here in Texas?
Well, this legislative session actually passed a bill to ban THC, but the governor vetoed it. Thank goodness, because there are medical uses for it. And, being a nurse, I've seen that kind of benefit that it has. I don't want it, to be available to everybody. So I think it should be regulated and for, only for adults only.
Okay. What adults that have a medical condition, right? Or
yes, medical condition.
Oh, okay. So like, I guess what doctors could prescribe it or something like that. And then that
you prescribe it, or you could still have it like I think they were selling it at the liquor stores, but they're regulated. It's I have to have a license to do it, to sell it.
Okay. Yeah. So you're for it as long as it's contained.
Contained, yes. And not access to children. Yes. Anybody less than 18 years old, yes.
Okay. All right. So let's talk about the hot topic too of casinos. Now I know the Sands casinos have been trying to come in here, and there can be a host of a lot of things happening should that ever get passed. And so tell me your thoughts about that and what you believe would be the impacts of having something like that here in Texas.
Well, I'm not in favor of having casinos in Texas. I mean, if you want to go gamble, it's 3 hours to Oklahoma, or there's also Eagle Pass, and then there's also over here at Louisiana. It's Shreveport. So no, I'm not for having casinos here in Texas. One of the leading causes of bankruptcy is gambling. You also have an increase in physical violence with domestic violence, all abuse, all that increases like 16% whenever casinos come in. Mental illness as well. That comes into play. For instance, Gulfport, Mississippi, whenever they open their casinos, suicides increased by 213%.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
So, and then I was reading too that for every dollar of revenue that you bring in from the casinos, the taxpayers actually spend $1.90 for the consequences of casinos.
Really? It is because of what you just mentioned, right? Crime, whatever.
The crime increases, the mental illness increases. Yes.
And and I thought about casinos because I would think, and I'm sure you've thought of that, but I would think that small businesses would go down because they're trying to do like these big resort that an all-inclusive thing. And you go to WinStar, right? And one thing I noticed is that whenever I take my mother, because she loves to go there, but when I go to WinStar, there's like no small businesses around there. And it's everything inside this thing. So it's like you can't even, from a small business perspective, you can't even benefit or have a nice little restaurant or whatever because they're not going to leave the place. So, yeah. So I think that it would harm the small businesses as well. And I don't know how the taxes work when it comes to casinos. I don't know how that benefits any city that it's put into or state. I don't know how that, do you know how that works? Because I don't know how that works.
Well, and think about this, when we started the lottery here, that was supposed to pay for schools and we weren't ever have to, okay, how's that working out for us?
Yeah. It's not.
Exactly. Same thing's going to happen with the casinos.
Yes. That's crazy. And we've had lottery here for, I don't even remember, gosh, it was decades.
It's been a while.
It's been a while.
Good. Yes, we have the lottery. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so what are your thoughts about mental health? And you're in the medical industry, and you see a lot of mental health. I don't know if you're seeing it more with kids or just certain groups of people. I mean, I don't know what you're seeing, but do you believe that we need to be better at the mental health, to kind of help people? And if so, what are your thoughts, or what would you like to do?
Yes, that mental health is an issue that needs to be addressed. We've actually had more vagrants, and I think that's part of it is the mental health issue. They just built a new wing at JPS to have a bigger population or to serve more people in the mental health industry. So hopefully that's going to help with that. And I'm all for, helping them in any way I can in order to facilitate that.
Oh, okay, to kind of drive some funding for that to happen. Yeah, it happens. I mean, it happens, but it seems like it's happening a lot more lately.
I think so too, but I think it's, part of it has to do with the illegal immigration that we have here and the H-1Bs and those kind of things that are actually taking jobs away from our kids. It's a compounding problem, I think.
Yeah, I believe so.
Issues that play into it.
And okay, so we talked about property taxes. Of course, we've already talked about that, but we do have a surplus. And it seems like they're always talking about, hey, we can use that for more property tax relief, but then they give us a smidgen. So right. What are your thoughts? I mean, it's a surplus, and it seems like it's just been hanging in there for quite some time, and then they'll just kind of get rid of it. So what are your thoughts of what would be good ideas on what we could use that surplus for?
Well, it actually is us overpaying on our property taxes. So I think it should go back to the property owners. I mean, and you're right. It's been going on for a while. I mean, we had a $24 billion surplus this session. Last session, it was $32 billion. We had $12 billion of it back. The time before, it was $26 billion. I mean, it's becoming a pattern to have to overcharge the property owners, to paying taxes. And it should come back to the property owners.
Yeah, and I agree. And I hope that if you get in the office, that definitely would be a push. You hear about it, but it's like, it's like dangling a carrot. And then you give it to us, and then like we spoke about, but then you still have this other stuff that they slipped in where you're still you're not really going to feel it as much as you thought you were because of the appraiser part of it. So,
correct. Well, that's kind of a double-edged sword too, because you've got your appraisal district also does your tax rate. So you've got your appraisal and your tax rate. So if you lower one, they're going to increase the other. Mm-hmm. So it's never going to change because they're going to get their money one way or the other. So if we eliminate it, then you can start cutting the fat as far as the agencies and whatnot in order to shrink the government and save us more money so that we don't have to spend as much on that. But, if you need to, have a sales tax to help with schools or something like that later on, or consumption tax, or even expanding the tax base, there's a lot of exemptions that, we could do without that could also help with any, school funding of that kind.
Yeah, because they definitely, they depend on that, right? And I know they were advocating, many schools advocated, like when I know here in Arlington, Texas, that we went to 2-year, and then they all marched down to the Capitol. Like, no, because that's how they depend on that money. But yeah, there needs to be more creative ways on how to fund the schools. Definitely funding the schools. So the other thing I want to talk about is supporting our police, our veterans, our law enforcement. And I know that here in Arlington, and we've had a shortage on vehicles. We've had a shortage on having even officers. I think the last time I had heard some numbers, and this was probably 6 months ago, it was like 1 officer per 1,000. I'm like, oh my God, that's crazy. So do you have any ideas on how to incentivize more police officers to come in to give them, I don't know, something come on and go that route to be your career and make sure that they have what they need in order to keep law and order.
Oh, well, first of all, they need to be supported by the public. A lot of them are, it's not a fancy job to go to, because they're making it so difficult and their job is already dangerous enough. And by if we would actually put penalties that fit the crime, then we would have less of that going on as well. But I think that in Arlington, especially, they need to have a raise in their salaries. It needs to be raised. That's kind of one of the issues that we have here is because they're going to our police academies, but then they're going to other areas because they're getting paid more in other areas.
Right.
And Arlington's the 7th largest city in Texas.
I know. People don't realize that. People don't realize
that. I know.
Yeah.
Not only that, we're the entertainment capital of Texas because you got the Cowboy Stadium and now we're going to have the World Cup coming here.
Yeah.
So yes, we need to take care of our police and reward them with the pay that they deserve.
Right. Okay. So let me ask you. You have the platform here, and again, the reason I have been talking with candidates is because I was a candidate once, and the forums are great, but you just have to 30 seconds or a minute and to really tell people who you are. So I'm giving you the opportunity to tell the constituents why they should vote for Susan Valliant.
Well, because I'm one of you. I've been the boots on the ground. I'm, like I said, in the back scenes, usually doing the grunt work, as you may say. But in order to make our country better or make our state better, make this district better, and just like I was talking about the Arlington police, I don't want to ever leave out the HEB area because they have actually an excellent school system there, and their police and fire are actually well supported. They were actually out at the city council the other day, and it was an honor to be there and to see that, to witness that they were honoring them. But I'm one of you. I'm a nurse. I check off a time card every day going to work, and just like everybody else. And I just want to be someone that is the boots on the ground person in order to support our community and our district.
Are you the type of candidate that they would be able to contact directly?
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah,
Anybody, I call them right back and have conversations with them, or I go to their house and we talk and just, anything to, because we have to bring it back to the people, because the people are the ones that are actually supposed to be in charge. And it's actually in the government code that people are the ones that decide what's the best, what's good and bad for them, not the elected officials. And so that's what I want to bring it back to. And I just have a heart for it, for service. And I just want to serve the people and do what's right for the people. And I've done that my whole nursing career, taking care of patients, what is best for them. And I will take that with me to Austin.
Okay. Well, Susan, I really appreciate, I know you're busy. This campaign trail is just, oh my gosh, it is crazy. I know you're about to, it's just crazy. I know that you're about to get going because you're going to meet your volunteers to go and, like you said, you're going to go meet with your constituents and go talk to them. And I'm really glad that you do that, because that's one thing that I do know about you is when you believe in something, you put your heart all into it. And you are so involved with your precinct and letting them know on what's going on. That's a very high bar, because you have a career and yet you just hey, by the way, guys, this is what's going on. And it's important to you and how it's going to affect you. So I really appreciate that about you. So
thank you so much. It's for God and country. It's to save our country because we're losing it.
Right. Okay. Well, thank you so much. And you have a fantastic day.
Hit the subscribe button to not miss any episodes of Truth Talk. Until next time, thanks for watching.